Hey everybody, welcome back to my Substack. Last week's cold turns out to have been COVID, quite a flashback. And Donald Trump is still president and still humiliating America on a national stage, standing next to Vladimir Putin. It's like a dream, a bad dream you can't wake up from. But I don't want to talk about that bad dream this week. I want to talk about a truly inspirational public figure named Taylor Swift. I'm in a family's Swiftie group chat. I know all her music and I listen to it in my headphones when I cut the grass. While our elderly makeup-covered president is posting about whether Taylor Swift is still hot and declaring that he can't stand her, what's she doing? Living her best life. Producing great music and, as she urged all of us to do during the podcast, not giving the jerks power over her mind. She said something about dealing with internet trolls that stuck with me. Think of your energy as if it's expensive, she said. As if it's like a luxury item. Not everyone can afford it.
Joining me now, Liz Wheeler, host of the Liz Wheeler Show. Liz, that gentleman was the former head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Does it seem like the leaders of the West lack a certain level of seriousness today, or is that just me being an old curmudgeon? Do we lack seriousness?
James Comey is a freak. He is a freak. I watched the entire 5-minute video of James Comey drooling, fanboying over Taylor Swift. 5 minutes of my life I will never get back. Do you understand? Do the math here. Do you understand how creepy this is? He talks about going to his first Taylor Swift concert 14 years ago or something like that. Do you know how old Taylor Swift was? She would have been like 19 or 20, and he was a 50-year-old man. That's really, really creepy. It's so weird to me. But here's the thing, Jesse. James Comey is different than a lot of other swamp creatures. Like, a lot of swamp creatures are really dumb. Peter Strzok is a good example. Like, he was obviously just used as a patsy. He's stupid. He's a sheep. He's a follower. They wanted him to commit the crime so that they had plausible deniability. James Comey is not like that. James Comey is actually a very strategic thinker. He's just a bad person. So he uses his intelligence for bad things. For example, think about when he posted on his Instagram that rock formation 8647. And then pretended, oh, I thought that was someone's street address. No, you didn't. You're the former FBI director. You know that the insinuation is killing President Trump. You're not stupid. You just think we're stupid. But the reason he did that, he knew when he posted that it would create backlash. He knew he would get a visit from the Secret Service, but he had no intention of killing Trump, so they would leave. He knew he would not face charges, and he knew he would get questioned by even mainstream media about it, and it would lead to selling books because it was the week before his book was released. So he was like 4 or 5 steps ahead of the actual action that he was taking. That's how I interpret this video of him drooling over Taylor Swift. Yes, he's a freak. Yes, he's a creep. Yes, our leaders are unserious. But the question in my mind about this video is why? Why did James Comey post this video? Because I know that it's just step 1 in some other plot. What's coming next?
I'm glad you brought that up, Liz, because I've been wondering about this myself. John Brennan, who rumor has it is probably most in jeopardy of possibly going to jail with this whole Russia hoax investigation stuff. His stupid fat face is all over the television set every time I turn it on. Nobody facing a serious legal trial would run and do interviews all the time. No lawyer worth their salt would allow their client to do that. Yet he is. Why is he unafraid? Why is James Comey unafraid? I'm nervous to even ask you, but why aren't any of these people afraid?
Because Republicans are weak. Republicans are impotent. Republicans are afraid to actually play to win. They know the Democrats can commit crimes, and they know that they will get away with those crimes because they have gotten away with crimes for decades and decades because Republicans are so nice. Republicans want to be gentlemen and get drinks after arguing on the floor of Congress. They want to be bipartisan. They don't want to target their political enemies because that's not what our country was meant to do. And the result of this is we get steamrolled over and over and over. Think about how long James Comey and John Brennan have been swamp creatures, how many years they have committed crimes against the American people and gotten away with this. They know that they can go on MSNBC or what's it called now? MS Now. I don't even know what that's supposed to stand for. More stupidity now, probably. They can go on these media outlets, and these media outlets are propagandists. They run cover for the criminals as long as the crimes are committed against you and against me. So it's not courage or confidence that causes these confidence and justice, I should say, that causes James Comey and John Brennan to go on a media tour when they are facing what should be charges. It's confidence that Pam Bondi's Department of Justice is at the most significant, going to get a little slap on the wrist for a perjury charge.
Oh, you know what? Let's shift gears and talk about something wonderful. The mental illness in the Democrat Party. Here was Dome slurring her way through a little interview.
I think what they're doing is they're cheating. I think they're cheating. They want to change the current system to make it bend toward the outcome they want. And so, if you believe the public reporting, they get a call that says, hey, redo your lines, even though the fallout is going to include exactly what you said, which is, taking the franchise, the vote, away from specific communities. And in the case of Texas, Latino and Black voters.
Yeah.
And diluting their votes. And this is not a census year.
Yeah.
But this is a year with the big, beautiful bill and the unpopularity of it. And so they want to bend the rules. And I have to say that, those Texan legislators, good for them.
It's the music that kills me, the dramatic music.
Whoever
really
put
are
that
run
music
by a bunch
on
of
there,
theater
hire
kids.
them. Hire them as a producer.
I know, it's
Killer.
terrible. They are just a bunch of theater kids, aren't they, Liz? That's in the end. That's what. It's so much drama all the time.
I mean, listen, look at the table in front of Kamala Harris. There are two glasses sitting in front of her. One is filled with water and the other one is empty.
Yeah. That pretty much says it all. By the way, I have to ask you about this. Joy Ann Reid, who got fired from MSNBC, not for saying kooky things like this. She went on TV, she said this.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU. They can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king. Because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman.
Liz, I feel like the country's kind of done with this kind of race-baiting branding. I think the George Floyd protests tapped out America's energy for it. It just doesn't seem to get traction anymore. Am I wrong?
I mean, I had a little bit of a hard time following her convoluted thinking and speaking, to be perfectly honest. But it seemed to me that she was saying that you as a white man, Jesse, are to blame for all sins of all white men in all bygone eras, which is ridiculous. It's one of the reasons, actually, that kind of ridiculous thinking. It's a false accusation, right? We as human beings, one of the worst accusations you can face is being racist. And it's a good thing that that's one of the worst accusations. No one wants to be racist because it's dehumanizing another child of God. And so in our country, it is the worst accusation you can face is to be racist, which is why the left often falsely accuses people of that because they are trying to assassinate people's character. beyond the point of no return. But the problem is that when you do this so often to so many innocent people, eventually people realize, hey, I don't have to take this. I don't want my children taught this. I don't want this racialism to be the foundation of our society. And the left went too far with this critical race theory stuff, and they are suffering the backlash. And it's a good backlash. It's not just personal or professional backlash. It is a reclaiming of justice and a reclaiming of equality in our country, both governmentally and in our culture. And Joy-Ann Reid is a perfect example of that.
Liz, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.